Welcome to Lesson 1 in Unit 5, Birds, Beaks, and Babies. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how do birds change their environment to meet their needs? They will use pictures, videos, and books to figure out that animals like birds can change their environment to meet their needs for shelter. Start this unit by framing the unit for students. Ask them to consider a bird in a tree and what can be learned from observation. Throughout the unit, students will focus on the design challenge. How can we design a nest that will hold eggs? Ask students what they think they may need to know to answer this question. Take any of their questions about the design challenge, writing down their ideas and wonderings on a chart to revisit throughout the unit. In the Engage portion of the lesson, introduce students to the unit phenomenon by showing them this video of blue jays. Ask them if they have ever seen a blue jay, what they know about birds, what they would like to know about birds, and what they think the blue jays were doing in the video. Give students time to turn and talk, and then share their responses out with the class. It may be helpful to create a class KWL chart about birds as the lesson progresses. A KWL chart for students to use is here on Student Journal page 2. In the Explore portion of the lesson, introduce the vocabulary term engineer, defining the term for students and asking how birds might be great engineers. Then, share the engineering design cycle with students, shown here on Student Journal page 3. Review the steps of the cycle and how they relate to birds building a nest. Ask students if they think it might be hard to build a nest. In this hands-on activity, students will try to build a bird nest. At this point, they may or may not be able to accomplish the task, and that is fine. Note that they will revisit this as a design challenge in Lesson 6, where they will use what they have learned in the unit to construct another nest. For this activity, you may wish to have students work in pairs. Provide students with some of the nesting material provided in your mySci kit to use and try to build a nest. Give them time to work at the task, keeping in mind that this is just an exploratory activity. In the Explain, start discussing the nest building process with students. Ask them about how they chose the shape and materials of their nest, and if they think all birds build nests in the same way. Then explain that birds live in all kinds of environments, so they build their nests in different types of places and with different types of materials. Read aloud the book, Birds, Nests, and Eggs with students. Teacher page 2 includes a read-aloud guide for this text. In the Elaborate, allow students to discuss how they may have seen other animals changing their environment to meet their needs. You may focus this discussion to ask students what other kinds of animals build nests. For example, wasps, raccoons, skunks, frogs, and even fish build nests. Show students the following pictures of animals changing their environment to meet their needs: a beaver dam, a spider web in a tree, and a prairie dog creating a burrow. After showing these pictures, model making a claim, giving evidence, and supporting the evidence with reasoning. You may want to model this process of claim, evidence, reasoning, or CER, with your students several times in order to help them complete the Evaluate section of this lesson. It may also be helpful to have students think of their own examples they have seen of animals changing their environment to meet their needs. In the Evaluate, students will use Student Journal pages 4 and 5, titled Animals Change Their Environments, to write their own CER about how an animal changes its environment. Students can refer back to the book or the poster and choose one of the birds there for this activity. A guide to student responses can be found on Teacher page 3. Revisit the blue jay phenomena, asking students, what have we learned that might help us figure out what is happening with the blue jays that we watched at the beginning of this lesson? By the end of this lesson, students will describe how birds change their environment to meet their needs and design a bird nest.